The loss of a job through redundancy or getting fired could feel like a bereavement. But is there a positive side to redundancy? Hello, I'm Joyce and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be discussing redundancy. Recently, I myself was made redundant. I was made redundant in July this year. What? Me? How dare you? After all I have done for you, was fear, which led to anxiety and panic attacks. I could not sleep, which made my situation worse. I could not eat. I lost so much weight. I could not engage with the process of the redundancy, which made me panic even more. My reaction to the redundancy actually shocked me because this is not me. This is not who I am. I'm usually one that rises up to every occasion. And I've had a few occasions in my life, like I've gone through domestic abuse. I've had to raise my children alone. And as you know, I've had a lot of money issues in the past. And even more recently, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I kind of faced all of these things without any too much worry. But this kind of knocked me for six. The way I was feeling did not align to the vision I had for my life. Something had to change. So I sought help. Seek help. And I would recommend these three things if you are faced with redundancy and you're maybe feeling a little bit panicky or you're a little bit fearful. And the first one is, I spoke to my doctor. The first thing my doctor did was to sign me off work so that I don't have to be in the same environment that was causing my problem. So this not having to deal face-to-face with the issue every day kind of helped me settle a little bit, but not completely. As I couldn't sleep, he also gave me things to sleep, which did not help. It was that bad that even referred me to therapy, which is something like I've never really considered. You know, I've always felt like I'm a strong girl. I don't need that kind of counseling. But my God, it was so helpful. What he said was the current way I was feeling is maybe an accumulation of things that have happened in the past that I have not dealt with. I have just gone on and just carried on. Like I'm a strong girl. I don't need to be doing any of that stuff. And he just felt like maybe my coping mechanism at this moment in time was just so weak that I couldn't cope, which is why I kind of felt like I was breaking down. And that's what it was. I was actually breaking down. The counseling session really helped. So that's the first thing to seek. Seek medical help. Mental health is medical help. So seek that. Don't think you're too good for it or you're too strong for it. Nobody's strong all the time. I definitely wasn't strong and I had to have help, and it really did help. The second help is to seek the support of your family, your friends and family, and that to me was great. My immediate family, of course, supported me. My friends actually invited me to come and stay with them, and then they looked after me in terms of cooking for me, making sure I sleep. But the biggest thing they did for me was to look every time I get an email from work that's, an email about redundancy, which oftentimes I found the tone very harsh. They would open up the email, they will read the email for me, and then they will summarize it for me. If there's any harsh elements to it, they find a way to soften anything that is being said so that I can take it without panicking even more. So please, 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 your friends and family will be there to support you and accept their help. And if anyone is also going through this in your life around you, please support them, because this thing is a big deal. It could just derail a whole person's life. So be supported and then be support to somebody else. That's the second thing I sought. The third thing I looked into was legal. Now, this is the first time I've ever lost a job. I've never, ever been in a position where I have been made redundant. So it really, really, I didn't see it coming. I didn't know how to deal with it. And I just really, really panicked. And as I mentioned already, I couldn't really even face the emails coming out from my companies. And I don't know what my rights are when it comes to redundancy. They're not that difficult. I will leave a link in the description for you to know where to go to. But I was just in such a bad way that I just could not engage, so I got a solicitor. It was a flat fee, which I think is fair. It wasn't too expensive, and the law firm handled it so brilliantly. They were the ones communicating with my company. They knew the rights, what my rights were, and they were making sure these things were getting said to my company, so I didn't really have to deal with that. So I definitely recommend that if you can afford to have a solicitor, definitely get one in your corner. If you can't afford one, there is still a lot of the legal service, legal aid. And I think I know of quite a few. There's something called ACAS also that can help. I will leave a link to it in the description. They are really, really helpful too. Some of my colleagues that were in the process with me went through them, and it might take a little bit longer, but they still got to a good end. So consider that if you can't afford to get a solicitor. But it's important to get independent legal advice when it comes to things like this. You want to be making sure you just want to make sure that things are done right, and these are the things to consider when going through a redundancy. I'm just leaving a list here for you. The three other things is to make sure that the money is correct, which is why I have a solicitor to help me make sure that the money I get is okay. With regards to money, depending on how long you've been in the job, you will get statutory redundancy pay, which is never really in dispute because it's the law. The bit where you will struggle with is anything like ex gratia, severance pay. It's oftentimes not in your contract that they will give you that, so it's always down to the discretion of the company. And most companies would, of course, not want to give you anything. They just want to kick you out and leave you destitute. So if you could negotiate anything with them, that would be great, which is again why maybe you should get some legal advice, legal help, so that you can negotiate effectively. They've been doing it for years. They know how to do it. They know what to say. So if you can afford it, get someone to help you on that. If not, of course, there's a free legal advice as well. The second thing to look into is your leave dates. If someone has made you redundant, I think it's the worst thing for me to be forced to come to meetings that have nothing to do with me. We're talking about things that will happen in the future that I'm no longer going to be part of. What is the point? So I would always say, as part of your negotiation, negotiate as quickly as possible a leave date. Do your best. Hopefully your company will pay for your notice period. They don't always, but try and see if you can negotiate that they pay for your notice period so that you're not hanging around. It's not good for you, and I don't even think it's good for the company. They know you don't want to be there. Why are they keeping you around? You're not going to be productive. You're not going to be wishing them well. So they know that too. They don't want to necessarily hold on to you. So this process, the last thing is, if you are looking to get another job soon, it will be a good idea to have a good reference, of course. Those are the things that I feel like I did and are important. And I want to leave it here now. I want us to discuss this rather than it be me just talking. And of course, the only way you can feed back to me is through the comments. So comment below if you've recently been made redundant or you've lost your job due to the current situation we find the world in. And what have you done that maybe I haven't mentioned? Or how did it affect you? I told you it affected my mental health. So please comment below. I would really love to know or to hear what you've gone through and how you've handled it and what are you doing now. Now, this is going to be part 1 video. I am recording a second part just to talk about what I am now doing now, because the beginning of the video I said is redundancy always bad? Is there any positive sides to it? And I will tell you now that I feel like, yes, there's a lot of positive sides to maybe leaving a job. But in order not to make this video too long, I have decided to make a part 2. So stay tuned for that. I will be posting that video pretty soon. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you. And as I said, leave your comments below and feel free to ask me anything. And I will see you in my next video.